Hey, so welcome everybody to the International Day of Action Against Contract Cheating. We're here all full of action, ready to talk about our topic for this session, which is how everyone can contribute to academic integrity. So we want to encourage you, whatever your role as a student or member of staff, that you can do something about academic integrity. So our session is in the form of a round table, and we're going to be suggesting a wide variety of ways that you can contribute on a small, medium or large scale. And finally, we'll have some Q&A at the end of the session. So I want to introduce everyone who's presenting today. So to start with, I'm Mary Davis. I work at Brookes University in the UK, and I'm here with Irene Glendinning from Coventry University, who's going to wave to you. Thanks, Irene. And next up, Natalie Lafferty from the University of Dundee in the UK. Hi, Natalie. I believe Sheryll hasn't joined us yet, but we have next Rebecca White from University of Auckland in New Zealand. Would you like to wave, Rebecca? Thank you. And then, as you can see, we have quite a number of people from the American University of Nigeria. So starting with Emilienne Akpan. And is Deborah here? No, Yolanda, would you like to just turn on your camera and wave? So Yolanda Amos from American University of Nigeria. And can't see Halima, but I can see Soma's here. Soma Wokemba from the American University of Nigeria. There's Soma. And Faith, would you like to wave? Thank you. So as you can see, we're from 3 different parts of the world: UK, New Zealand, and Nigeria, trying to show you some ways to contribute to academic integrity. So in my brief slot, I'm going to talk especially about teaching, how you can contribute through teaching, and starting on a small scale, teaching academic integrity to your own students. Whichever group of students you are with, you could teach them a session. And something we've worked on this year for the International Day of Action is a number of additional resources. This one that you've got on the screen at the moment is an example from our news resource. So it's a discussion activity that you could have with students to discuss the long-term and social consequences of any form of cheating or academic integrity problem. This one was about impersonation. So it's a sort of activity that can really raise awareness among students if people go into roles in professions without genuine qualifications or not doing their own work. Another resource we've made is a collection of open access teaching resources. So this one from Texa has a number of videos. So these are resources you could use just teaching with your own students. And you can find them on the International Day of Action webpage. There are links directly to these resources. Next up, a medium scale contribution, which is to design an academic integrity course for students at your institution. So stepping up from just teaching your group, developing a course for everyone at your institution. This is something I've done at my university, Brookes University, working together with the library team, academic development team, tech team, and we made a course that takes about an hour for self-study. And now we make all students do it prior to assessment. So I think that's some initiative that you could take forward in your own institution. Now, for a large-scale contribution, could involve collaborating with other institutions and developing some open access teaching resources with a specific approach to academic integrity. So I'm leading a project which is funded by the Quality Assurance Agency, together with a team from my university, Oxford Brookes, Bloomsbury Institute, University of Southampton and the University of Westminster, and it's all about improving student learning by combining accessibility with academic integrity. So this is something that is a more large-scale project. It's lasting more than a year, but we've made teaching resources that are open access, can be used with students, and they all meet inclusion goals. So they are all for all students. Sorry, just dropping a link into the chat in case you're interested in following this up. We also have teaching resources for use with staff in the form of workshops and a template to try to help staff to develop teaching resources for academic integrity inclusively. So that's our particular focus. This is an example of our template, which we call partners, to try to ensure that anyone making a resource is really thinking through all of these areas. And that's an example page from our resource with lots of questions as a checklist about prior experiences and accessibility. So that's the end of my part. I'm next going to hand over to Irene Glendinning, and Irene is going to be talking about integrity is not just about the conduct of students. Over to you, Irene.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to start off by just standing up and just showing you my T-shirt. I hope you can see that. This T-shirt came from one of the conferences that the ICA organised in Athens. I think it was in 2016. I just want to alert somebody to the fact that I don't think our audience can use the chat at the moment. So I don't know whether the technical support is still online. Michael or Amanda, can you possibly have a look and see how to enable the chat? Okay, sorry, and I'll start my bit now. So I was trying to send a message when you called me in. So yes, my bit, I decided to talk about it's everybody's responsibility. So academic integrity, we often think about academic integrity as it's about students, but it's not. It's actually everybody in the community is responsible. So on this special day, I think it's a good time to think about what we can do as individuals and within our communities to try to make a difference with academic integrity. So I know that some of you, I hope that some of the audience are from Australia, New Zealand, our Antipodean colleagues out there, and it's kind of the end of your academic year, isn't it? So maybe you need to think ahead to what you might do next year and start to plan that. And today's a good day to start to think about all those things we can do. You know, for example, to work with colleagues to help them to understand integrity better, because not everyone understands it in quite the same way. To work with a class of students, as Mary was saying, to design perhaps a course or some materials that you can share with colleagues, so that you can get the message out there about integrity. Today is a good day as well to talk to people who are not as well connected as we are. So in my research, I've come across people in different parts of the world who are not as connected as we are. So within their own communities, within their own countries even, they feel very isolated, very alone. There are not many people who care about integrity in some communities, in some countries, in some institutions. And these people are made to feel like troublemakers. So if you know anyone like that, today is a good day to reach out to those and make them feel wanted, make them realize that their work is very important. And to them, the sixth fundamental value of the ICAI, courage, is really, really important, because you have to be courageous to face up to integrity when all your colleagues are not as serious as you are, and try to change minds. And those people value the input that they get and the support they get from networks like the ICAI, like the European Network for Academic Integrity. So encourage them to kind of join in and help to give them support. So, I mean, the important thing I think today is, yes, please organise activities on your own campus with your own colleagues, with your own students. Even if you just talk to one student about why contract cheating is a very dangerous thing to do and the wrong thing to do, that will have made a difference to that one student. So whatever you do, whatever you've got planned, today is a good day to start to have those conversations and to start to change lives and to change to make a difference within your community. But of course, this is the first day, and we need to continue to do that forever. So every day is a day of integrity. So I think I'm going to stop there and hand on to the next person. Back to you, Mary.
Thank you very much, Irene. So yes, I think Irene's message can be summed up. Today is a good day. Today is a good day to get started with academic integrity and promote it. Thank you very much, Irene. So next up, Natalie Lafferty is going to be presenting. So Natalie's from the University of Dundee, and she'll be talking about graphic communication approaches to engaging students in academic integrity. Over to you, Natalie.
Thank you very much, Mary, and good morning all from Scotland. So here in Dundee, we actually have a professor of comics, and there's a lot of work going on locally around using graphical communication with students. And also, I think we found that during the pandemic, students are often overwhelmed with lengthy documents and long emails. And so we've been really interested to explore whether we can use more graphic forms of communication and comic style types of communication to really communicate with students of all cultures and make more messages, I think, a little bit more relatable and easy to understand. And we've also got quite a long tradition of partnering with our students. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago now, we worked with our student association, and they very much had this idea of wanting to do something around academic integrity and worked with us to develop a video which we did with them, again using quite a sort of graphical but probably a more childlike approach, because that was this sort of bear was the idea that they had. And then from that we did another video about giving credit where it's due, using this kind of concept of penguins. Penguins are a very big thing in Dundee because of Scott's ship, the Discovery, that went to the Antarctic. So penguins are a sort of strong symbol that's used across a lot of communications at Dundee. And then following that, last year on the International Day of Action, we had our students in life sciences who developed this escape room activity, and they're going to be talking about that in future sessions today at lunchtime, UK time, and also afternoon. And we've subsequently been working with this group of students a little bit further, so really trying to work with them to understand how can we effectively communicate these issues around academic integrity, and particularly against sort of contract cheating. And our conversations with them, again, I think have really reaffirmed this idea of using graphic communication. And so we've been producing storyboards over the past few months, and coinciding with this has also been an update to our academic integrity policy. So the existing video that we had with the bears very much aligned with the old academic integrity policy, but the one that's obviously been updated includes things like using artificial intelligence and things like that to support generating your work. So a number of updates to the policy which we wanted to reflect. So we wanted to basically develop a brand new video, and it's been really helpful, I think, to get input from the students. And one of the things was, keeping it black and white, because they liked this idea of us maybe potentially being able to produce a comic strip or individual frames, which they could then take and they could use to sort of colour in, because there's this big thing around mental health and mindfulness, and colouring in actually really, really helps the students. So it's just fascinating to get those insights. So again, as Mary said, have those conversations with people, and as Irene has said, with your students, and just see what ideas they may have. And it may take your ideas in slightly different directions and ways that you hadn't maybe thought of. And so although our resources aren't quite ready for the full launch, as we'd hoped they might be this week, what we are doing is going to be seeding some of these images today through internal Teams channels to staff, and through our Twitter and Instagram accounts to students. And again, you can just see some of these ideas that are building up, and they're going to be published in a sort of comic strip format. We're also going to have a video with a voiceover. And again, you can just see here some of the stills actually around contract cheating and using an essay mill. So these are ideas that are emerging. And also what's been interesting is that our business school has innovation champions, and they've got some ideas too. So they're also planning on how they can use these assets in their own strategy within their own school with different groups of students. There's talk about developing this into a zine, and also because we're going for this strong sort of graphical look and having almost like a sort of a frame that can be used individually but also part of a sort of larger piece, we can also push these onto the screens in our library, across departments. In the university, the student union are going to be sharing these sorts of these images. So it's that idea of producing a series of assets that can be used as a collective to tell a wider story, to reinforce the message, but also can be a standalone set of visuals, which you could turn into a bookmark, into a poster, or share on social media. So that's what we're doing this week, and today is starting to seed this before we launch the full suite of resources. And when we do, they will be shared under Creative Commons, like those QA resources. So they'll be free for other people to use and to modify and use in their own context. So that's what we're doing at Dundee. Thank you very much. Thanks
a lot, Natalie. Great. So lots of ideas there for using cartoons, graphic communication approaches. And as Thomas Lancaster, who's with us in the chat, has posted, he and Irene will be talking more about artificial intelligence later today in the session at 2 p.m. UK time. So next, I'd like to introduce Rebecca White from University of Auckland. I think you're here on your own without Sheryll today, is that right?
Yes, thank you, Mary. Yes, I'm not sure where Sheryll is actually, so we'll just be here today. But she might join later on. But yes, I'm from the University of Auckland in New Zealand, and I'm going to be talking about how we work to engage students and staff to raise awareness of academic integrity across the institution. So at the University of Auckland, we realised a couple years ago that the driver behind kind of academic integrity and getting the message out was really coming from the Academic Quality Office. So it was coming quite centrally, but really for the message to have impact, it should come from within the faculty, you know, where students actually are, the people that are working with students themselves. So we set up these roles within the institution for faculty staff, usually lecturers, to be academic integrity advisors. So each faculty has at least two, some faculties have more academic integrity advisors, and these are lecturers who are working with students every day, and their role is to promote a culture of academic integrity within their faculty. So that means working with other colleagues, helping them to understand what academic integrity is, what academic misconduct is, the different forms of each of them, and then trying to spread that message as much as they can among their colleagues and students as well. And it's been really successful so far. So we have an academic integrity community of practice that meets it's supposed to meet every 2 months, but actually we have so much to talk about that it ends up being every month at the moment. And that's a great opportunity where people will share their approaches to what they've been doing within their faculties. We also have guest speakers that come along, and often just through speaking with people, we find other people in the university that are passionate about academic integrity who aren't part of the community of practice. So they might come along, and this is something which you could very easily do in your own institutions as well, if you're not already, because it's been, so I think we've got Sheryll there as well. Sheryll is one of the academic integrity advisors. Sheryll, who's masquerading as Mary Davis.
I've got a double. Welcome, Sheryll. I think it's
sorry,
just
I'm
the link,
late.
isn't it?
I just had a couple of phone calls that kept me I forgot I was supposed to be here. Sorry.
No worries.
No worries. I was just so that's how we have been getting the message out to staff, and that's been working really well. For students, where the main way we've been engaging students so far is getting their input on our academic misconduct process. So we've been working with the Students Association to help to get their input on how we're managing cases of academic misconduct. And there've been really interesting discussions, because it's helped us to understand a lot about why students, do commit academic misconduct, what their fears are, what their concerns are, and through these discussions, we've learned a lot about how we can help to raise understanding of academic integrity and academic misconduct throughout the university. So the next step is going to be to work more with them on then how can we actually, within the student population, raise that understanding. And it would be great to have some kind of student champions or something. So that's what we're thinking about doing next. And so for the International Day of Action, we've got a few activities. We've got a quiz, which any students or staff who do the quiz, they go on the draw to win a supermarket voucher. We've also got a wall of put a brick in the wall for academic integrity, which Sheryll's going to talk about in a moment. And we've got some business cards, which was an idea from this group of, on one side is a definition of academic integrity, on the other side is a definition of academic misconduct with a QR code to find out more. So they scan the QR code and they go to our university academic integrity website. And so Sheryll and I on Friday were just going around the university, dropping these off to different academic integrity advisors to share with their colleagues. So having that community really helps to kind of spread the word more widely than we would be able to do without it. So I'll hand over to Sheryll now to talk more about one of our activities, which has been really successful in getting the word out to students in particular, but also staff.
Thank you, Rebecca. Basically, what Rebecca and I did, I mean, it was, we put up, we cleared a board down where 3 main lecture theatres are, and it's in the basement, well, we call it the basement of the library as well. So there's quite a lot of traffic because the lecture theatres are quite well used, and they're big lecture theatres. And so we cleared quite a big space. We put up made a banner, I suppose, talked about putting a brick in the wall, and then we had little bricks that we actually cut and put pins in them so that you could see what it looked like. And we left, we put a pen there and we put extra paper there. And so far it's been going quite well. I haven't looked at it today, but people seem to be engaging. And as Rebecca said the other day when she looked, there were some funny answers, and there were some people who took it seriously. The fact that we've put a random prize in there and we've asked them to put their email on the back, I'm hoping, Rebecca suggested, and I quite agree with her, let's just sort of leave it up. We've had it up for a week now, and we were going to leave it there till next Monday, just to sort of keep the momentum going, not just have one day, because I think it's quite important. For us, it's literally the last week. There's not a lot of people around per se, and I think bearing in mind that everyone's about to go into their exams, it's been quite successful. The thing that Rebecca, I don't think told you about, is that we also have a student magazine called Crackham, and she's put in an article for that, and that goes to, it's 10,000 in print, but it's also electronic, and so that is accessed by up to 40,000 students. Now, it would be interesting to see if Crackham, when we go back to them, can tell us how many perhaps have taken the magazine, even if they haven't read it. But Rebecca put together quite a good article around academic integrity and contract cheating, based on some questions that the students themselves, the Crackham people, which is run by students had asked. So I'm hoping that that sort of might meet or reach students who may not have gone to the library, who may not have been given a card, who may not have heard about the quiz, but may have picked it up because they're all randomly put around the university. So I think, and the other thing that Rebecca and I talked about is to keep the quiz that's associated with the card going. I know at the moment it's attached to prizes, but I quite like the idea of keeping that going and keeping the scan going that's on the little business card. And the other thing that, because we just want to keep engaging students, so if they can randomly, like I've got summer school, so I've got extra cards, so I want to hand those out to my students then and get them to, before they even still start their main academic journey, to try and get in and have a quiz as well as doing their academic integrity module. The other thing that I'm hoping that Rebecca and I get a sense of is what works, because I'm really keen to do it at the start of our academic year, where I think it's going to be much more suitable.
Impactful
because,
as well, maybe.
Yes. And so and we could have it as part of the orientation week, which is what I've heard other people do. And we're hoping that by then, maybe we could have some student ambassadors or have something more to do with the student union, because they organise those particular activities during that week. And so make it much more linked to the student association. That's what I'm hoping the long-term goals are anyway, is to sort of not just make it one day, but really emphasize it right at the start, keep going as they mean to keep going. Have I missed anything? I don't know that I've missed it. Did we do everything?
Yes, I mean, those are the main things we've done. We've also done
Yeah.
social media campaigns and,
that's right.
And things
TikTok.
like that. But yes, yeah. But we're really keen to hear as well if people put in the chat if they have other suggestions for how they've been engaging students and staff. We're keen to do as whatever we can. So please do feel free to share what you do.
Thank you very much, Rebecca and Sheryll. You've shared so many ideas yourselves, and I think connecting back to what Irene was saying, today is a good day to promote academic integrity, but you also need to do it year round, and you're doing so many other things, and also thinking about when's a really good time. So the start of an academic year seems a particularly good time to start the engagement. Yeah, lots of ideas with cards and quizzes and magazines, and a team of academic integrity advisors across, so that's staff in those roles. How many do you have in those roles?
Is that right, Sheryll?
I thought there was more. It depends on the faculty. Like the business have quite a lot. Science seems to have quite a lot, but my faculty, there's only 2. Medical health science is only 1. So I think it really comes down to how they run their faculties. Business seems to have quite a lot of independent schools, and so they seem to have 1 advisor attached to each school, whereas for my faculty, it's not a small faculty, but they felt that 2 academic integrity advisors could handle it. And with the new simplicity, we probably don't need as many academic integrity advisors as perhaps we had to when it was just paper. And there was a lot more hands-on, having to pass pieces of paper around. So I have a suspicion that simplicity will probably narrow that down to people who see it as a really good, a really important part of their service, because that's the other thing we do. It's part of our service component.
Great. I'm just wondering, there's a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if you can see them, Rebecca, regarding TikTok. Would you like to answer those? So Thomas is asking how well it works for engagement, and Nadia is asking about if you got many, you've actually got many from students.
Yeah, so I think the TikTok, we'll try again next year. We didn't get too many this year, but we were trying to get our comms team to do one, to kind of start the ball rolling so that students could see this is what the kind of thing that they could do, and then students could do one. But it didn't quite work with the timing. I think they were very busy at this time of year, but that's, I think, how we would do it next year, is have our own university one. And then we were thinking of having at the end, you know, think you can do better, and then invite other students to make the videos. So yeah, and we were going to get people doing things like putting the brick on the wall that could be part of the TikTok. So yeah, it didn't quite work this year, but we'll try again next year.
Building your experience.
Yeah,
that's great. Thank you both very much. So lots of ideas for us all there, and really good to hear from New Zealand. So next up, we have a whole team from Nigeria. So that's Emilienne Akpan, who is faculty, and a number of your students, Emilienne. So you've got Soma with you, and Yolanda is here, yes, and Faith. So you're going to be talking about engaging students through contests and student events. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's been great listening to everyone, and also learning about all the wonderful ideas, you know, that you have on your different campuses. Now, here at the American University of Nigeria, you know, students are engaged in different ways, but I'm going to let the students speak first. I'll let them speak first, and then I'll speak last. So I'll start with Soma. She'll introduce herself, and then she'll share what she has in mind for today. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Can you see me? I'm having a network issue, so I'm not certain if you can see me.
We can see you. We can see you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Soma Wokemba, and I'm a tutor at the Writing Center. I'm the president of the Honor Society, so I'm pretty engaged, and I think I have a unique perspective as a student and someone who also promotes academic integrity in school. And with these two groups I work with, we definitely lay a lot of emphasis on academic integrity, but as a student, I think we also focus on the reasons why students may not take academic integrity as seriously. And we notice that some students are not able to articulate or express their thoughts or their opinions or things they have studied well, and this is very common among many students in school. And it is important that we equip students with resources and knowledge that they need to be ready to face exams and assignments personally, confidently, and head on. And I work at the two groups I work with essentially do that. At the Honor Society, we offer academic assistance to students on time as well. We're very accessible. We are always open 6 days out of the week and more than 12 hours a day, and that's the same at the Writing Center. So we offer assistance on academic work and then writing work. And in summary, the aim is to offer guidance to students so that they don't get to the point where they consider breaching academic integrity. In fact, we even recognize that some students accidentally plagiarize by not referencing or using proper citation, which is why we have citation workshops, and we consistently encourage students to attend and be part of the interactive sessions that we have. And even today, we're supposed to have something in school, in the library, a little, let me call it a mixer, but it's definitely going to have games that are engaging and pass the message about academic integrity as well. It's going to be very engaging. I mean, we have midterms going on right now, but students hopefully would be down for it. Hello, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you, Soma. Continue. We can't hear you very well.
Oh, okay. But back to what I was saying earlier before the session we're going to have today at the library. I'm safe to say that I'm coming from a preventive way of curbing contract cheating in school, because it's my job most of the week to help students learn the topics they're being taught in school, as well as understand the essentials of proper writing so that they can confidently carry out their assessments on their own without resorting to cutting corners. So from my standpoint, it's all about making sure students don't even get to the point where they have to consider breaching academic integrity intentionally or by accident.
Sheryll, did you have a question? Did you want to come in with a
Yeah, I
question?
did. I'm always interested to hear from students, because increasingly at Auckland, we've put a lot of that information that you're talking about online. And I'm just wondering whether how successful do you think it is student to student and having that personal relationship when you're talking about something that's can be quite emotional, you know, if you think you're not writing right, if you think you're being pinged for plagiarism or something, having that emotional support, that personal support, that student support, rather than what we seem to be doing, which is putting it a lot online and having the student access it for themselves sort of independently at a time that suits them. What do you think? Do you think it's much more successful because there's that personal relationship that you build?
That's a wonderful question. And I do think so, mostly because as a student, I can definitely understand a teacher, someone who is more experienced or older, telling you something, and it just seems more of an instruction, as opposed to someone who is kind of in the same shoes as you, telling you something. It's more relatable and easier to come to terms with, because this is a student like you that's telling you something that makes sense. And it's something that they do all the time. So it's not so far-fetched or far away, because it's easy to remove yourself from a situation when someone is much older than you or much more experienced than you, or has gone farther in their career, maybe even if it's the same career that you're trying to pursue. But definitely when a student tells you something as important as this, you're more likely to listen, because I mean, the student could tell you anything, but they're choosing to tell you something as important as this. And in a school like AU, and I'm not sure exactly how it is in your schools, we're not so many, so we see each other often in different situations. We see each other at volleyball tournaments, we see each other in classes, we see each other in dorms, we see each other a lot. So we kind of still have a relationship with one another outside the tutoring sessions that we do have. So there's more of trust in that regard. And then students also see student tutors doing things on campus. Like today, where we'll be organizing an activity in the library, they will see me and my team doing something in the library, and they would know that, oh, this student that I saw, that I talked to, that I relate with, is also doing something that is as important as this. A student as well, we attend some of the same classes, we see each other often. This isn't something that I can't do or I can't put in work to achieve, essentially.
Yeah, I think you're reinforcing for me, it's, you know, when you're working with something that can be so negative as academic misconduct, that having that personal relationship, I don't think that you can go past that. And I'm a little bit concerned that a lot of what we think can occur in teaching them is put online. And that's why I'm quite keen, if it's possible at our university, to have much more student input around not only, you know, working alongside an academic misconduct, but being proactive rather than really relying on online presence. That's my personal opinion, but I kind of, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, Mary, but again, to add to what Soma has said, we're a relatively small community, and it's very easy, you know, for students to work with each other. And we, you know, at the Writing Center, the Honor Society, we have student tutors, you know, in both, and then they also support one another. So it works very well here. It actually works very well here. And then students come in quite often, you know, to seek guidance on different things. So yes. So thank you very much, Soma. Now we're going to listen to Faith-Emmanuela. Faith, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Introduce yourself and go ahead. Faith, we're waiting for you. Okay, while Faith is trying to get back, I think we have a slight internet issue. Yolanda, is Yolanda ready?
Sorry, I had my internet went off for a second. So.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Okay, go ahead, Faith, if you're ready. Okay, while waiting, oops, we've lost her internet. Okay. So while waiting for Faith to join us, my video is off right now because we have a slight internet problem. So I'm just going to continue speaking about student engagement. You know, the different things that we do here at the American University of Nigeria to engage students and to ensure that, okay, the message, you know, is always there. The message is always there. As Soma has said, you know, we have workshops, we have different tutorials, but we also organize fun activities. Last year, yes, okay, Faith. Can you speak now, Faith?
Yes, I can. Sorry about that.
All right, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So let me reintroduce myself. My name is Faith-Emmanuela Akpan. I'm the president of the AON Maths Club, and I'm also a student tutor at the Maths Center. For me, my relation to the academic integrity aspect is from a student's perspective now. For something like math, unlike writing, you can't really detect if someone has copied, because it's not like you can say, oh, this is not your writing style. Well, you don't usually write your sentences like this. You can't pinpoint, because I don't think you can plagiarize a math equation. It's not something you can word out. So it's actually very easy to copy. Maybe some student A, they are doing an assignment, they have lots of it. Then their friend can be like, oh, let me just help you. Let me just do all your assignments for you. That comes as an issue for me, because you're supposed to learn it. And when students come to me in the math center, then they don't know these assignments. And then I'm explaining to them step by step, then they actually come to learn it. That is those that willingly come. Some just don't come. And then when it's time for exams, tests, they're blank. Their assignments, perfect scores, but their assessments in the exams, they're getting very low scores. I feel that this can be combated with some events. I actually have 2 ideas, and I actually have 3 ideas. The first one is through skits and dramas. Like the school can organize like little plays of like examples of academic anxiety, helping your friend, contract cheating, and then like show solutions on like how these students should have acted instead of going through that path. And my second idea is like a panel discussion. We'll gather students in a hall, and then we're gonna like give different scenarios. This time it can even be interactive. We'll give a scenario, we'll let the students in the hall talk. What do you think is the right thing to do here? And the third one, you can actually combine them while doing the plays. We can take a pause, we can ask the audience, like, what do you think we should do now? What do you think this student should do to help the situation? And like, that's how I feel that the academic integrity can be promoted from this side of view. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you so much. Yolanda, are you ready? I really enjoyed listening to you and all those kids. Well, it's good to come from a student, because if it's the faculty saying, okay, let's do this, you may get that pushback because it becomes a them again versus us. But when it's student-centered, student-led, the response we have seen is usually very different. So they cooperate more when events, when activities, exercises are student-led. Yolanda, share here. Okay, before Yolanda joins us, I'm just going to speak about, you know, how we involve the university community. And by university community, I also mean parents. I know we're talking about contests and student events, but we also involve our parents. You know, at the beginning of each semester, during the orientation week, we get to speak with parents, we get to address parents, you know, about how academic integrity is valued here at the American University of Nigeria. So that's the first. And then we need this partnership, because, you know, we're not just here, you know, the students are not just here alone. We also need to ensure that, you know, the parents are working with us on this particular value and many other things. So that's one way. I mentioned during the pre-event, you know, that we had an academic integrity float. You know, that was before COVID. We had an academic integrity float, and then students went around campus, you know, they were singing, they were, you know, relaying the message, involving one another at different stages, at different points. And that always goes very well because, you know, students have their own way of connecting to concepts, and music did a very good job, music and the whole, you know, camaraderie as well. So that works very well. This semester, Halima is not here, but I don't know if she'll be able to join us. But I would like to say that on Friday, you know, student event, SGA, the Student Government Association, I think you know it as Students Union, you know, they organized a pre-event roundtable discussion, a panel discussion. So there was a presentation on contract cheating, and then we also had the panel discussion with faculty and students. There was a very good representation from the student community, and that went very well. I mean, it actually took 2 hours, so that went very well. And on Friday, because this is our midterm week, midterm exams, so on Friday, there will be the treasure hunt, academic integrity treasure hunt, and that's in partnership with the Office of Student Activities and Involvement. So we are going to, you know, have students in teams, you know, 5 teams, 6 members, and they all have different points because they're not all going to go in the same direction, but they all go in different directions leading to one centralized place. They'll find envelopes with clues, and the first team, you know, to get all the letters together will definitely have an academic integrity message. I can't say that here because then I'll be giving it away. And then, you know, they get medals, and then there'll be refreshments after that. So that's how we're going to culminate this year's IDOA, the set of events for this year's IDOA. But there will be other things, you know, through the semester, you know, that relates to academic integrity awareness. Faculty have already received, you know, all the information that Mary has been sharing with us, and I also shared an ebook from Turnitin about what contract cheating is. So they'll post that on Canvas, they'll engage their students, you know, with all the, you know, the different cases, you know, that we have, the resources that Mary has shared, which is on the ICAI site. So there's also that as well. Yolanda, are you here? Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, well, okay, there she is. Okay, great. So you can introduce yourself and then go ahead.
I'm Yolanda Amos, a student of the American University of Nigeria. So I'll be talking about how majorly students feel that contract cheating only has a role to play here while they're in college, but it also has effects outside in the outside world when they've graduated and working. So a way that this attitude can be imbibed in them is through talk shows, organizing talk shows, whereby we get not just faculty, but probably people that are known outside of the school to like talk to students and advise them. This way they'll remember often. And another idea I had was maybe in the writing center or maybe through emails, the school emails we have, weekly crossword puzzles that would have words that are related to contract cheating.
I quite like the
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you very much. Okay.
I quite like the way that the students are seeing it at the bigger picture, that actually it's not about what you do in school, it's something that you've got to carry with you outside and into your job. And the fact that they're bringing in people to talk to them about what their standards are, what the requirements are for being a practitioner in whatever field, as a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer. I think it's really a good idea to bring in those particular people with and stress the importance of honesty and in integrity in their work. I mean, I always find it quite strange that some students sort of see school here and life over there, and that if they cheat here, apparently they're not going to cheat over there. It just, yeah. And I think that getting that message across about those long-term effects is a really important aspect of not just, it's not just plagiarism, it's not just here and now. So I thought that was a really good point, Yolanda, that you brought up about that connection with what you're doing next in your careers.
Thanks, Sheryl, and thank you very much to Emilienne, Yolanda, and Soma, and Faith, sorry, as well. Thank you so much for all of your ideas. And I think there's been a number of comments in the chat about how we work together with students. There were some questions about whether the students are paid or volunteering, and Soma has kindly put a very full answer to that question. I'm wondering if anyone among panelists and audience have any questions for anyone at all on the panel. So please do use the Q&A or Q&A and use the chat for any questions. There's lots of positive comments as well on contributions.
Could I just ask people in the call, not necessarily on the panel, but people in the call to tell us of anything interesting you're doing today, anything you've got planned, or any ideas that you've got that you want to share?
There's a comment in the chat now from Shelley. Actually, it's a question to ask how universities aim to measure the impact of all the fantastic work. So the wall idea, that's Sheryll and Rebecca's. How is the impact measured? Can you measure the impact?
Yeah, I don't think there would be a reliable way of measuring that. I think there are things that we can see, but we've got the stats for each year, what the case numbers are, but I think there are so many different variables that I think a kind of scientific measurement would be difficult. But I think just in terms of seeing the conversations and seeing the engagement, as I said, with our academic integrity advisors, with our students, I think we hopefully should be able to see a bit more awareness through our conversations. What do you think, Sheryll?
I think that we certainly could measure the quiz, because they have to go online and do that. We can count the messages on the wall, but that doesn't mean we don't know how many people have stopped, read, and moved on without actually doing anything. So I think that statistical measurement is probably not going to be a major in our ability to determine what the impact is. But I think even if one person changes their mind because of it, or thinks more seriously about it, then I think I've been successful. Obviously, it'd be nice to have 40,000 students, but in the end, it comes down to your personal sense of honor, to use your words. And as I said, if it makes people think, again, that then what we've been doing in whichever way we've been doing it, I think is an important one.
Great, thank you, Sheryll. So yes, even if one person is impacted, it's worthwhile. We've got a number of panelists who want to come in here. So Irene.
Yes, I just wanted to reinforce the message that statistics are not the answer, because there are so many things that influence statistics. So yes, we can count the number of cases, but if you're getting better at finding cases of contract cheating, for example, which is the hard one, but and other things, then your figures will go up, even though that could be seen as a measure of success rather than failure. So it's really difficult to base it on statistics, and it's very much more about the kind of student attitudes and the student engagement with the problem. So I just wanted to reinforce that statistics are not useful necessarily for showing an impact for these kind of events.
Thanks, Irene. Emilienne, did you want to come in?
Well, Irene has said part of what I wanted to say, and then Soma has also added in the chat, you know, the visits from students, the recurring visits from students also show that they're very mindful about the awareness, and then they understand why it is important for them to, you know, do their work honestly and to do it, you know, the right way. So that is for us a measure. And then we also have faculty, you know, because there's some faculty who refer their students to the Writing Center, to some of the tutorials, you know, that are academic integrity based. So the feedback from the faculty also helps, you know, because it lets us know that, okay, you know, the students are improving because all of them have different competencies, but as they progress, you know, their faculty, their instructors are also able to see that, you know, it's improved. They don't have as many cases anymore of whether it accidental or willful plagiarism, as the case may be, but there are definitely improvements. But it doesn't mean the work is done. No, it's a continuous process.
Yeah. Thanks, Emilienne. And Natalie.
Yeah, thanks, Rory. I think it's also about the changing attitude of students, isn't it? I remember Kath Ellis several years ago talking about students needed to get to the point where they found cheating unacceptable, and they would kind of call it out as they would other sorts of behaviours. And I remember going back, this is 20 years ago now, we developed a tool at Dundee, which was used in the medical school. It's called the Dundee Ready Educational Environment Measurement. And it's been used extensively across the healthcare professions, and it looks at what the educational environment's like. But one of those questions in that tool was around, there was a lot of cheating on my program, or my classmates cheat a lot. And I wonder whether it's sort of looking at those behaviours and attitudes. And I'm certainly sensing our students are becoming much more vocal about the fact that their degree could be completely devalued if it gets out that other students have been cheating. So I think I would agree, it's not about statistics as such, about the number of cases, but it's how do we actually genuinely measure that change in attitude and culture amongst our students. So it's maybe something for us to have a think about and see whether we can develop maybe a tool collectively that you know could be robust and do some sort of measurement in that area.
That's a really interesting idea, Natalie. So I think we're all about promoting academic integrity in different ways, and maybe promoting the culture of academic integrity among our students and staff. Sounds great. So yeah, there's an initiative.
I like that idea. I'm not sure how we'll
large scale.
But I think it's a really good thing to think about.
Great. Sheryll, quick last comment, and then I think we need to wrap up.
I was going to say that at our university, we've started and Rebecca's part of this, what we call the RAINS project, which is all 8 universities have and the process of either putting out a questionnaire or to ask students about their views on cheating, how many times they see it. You know, there's quite an intensive questionnaire, and so what we're hoping to do is have this New Zealand-wide university-based set of data, and that's going to continue each year to sort of see what the movement is in people's perceptions or attitudes, but also next year they're hoping to include the staff and have a questionnaire around the staff, and so hopefully the universities are building up this data set. There we go, research and academic integrity in New Zealand. And so we're hoping that's going to give us a basis for thinking about what's occurring in New Zealand.
Great. Well, that's really interesting to know about. Thank you, Sheryll. Emilienne, you wanted to say something else?
Hello. Can I
Yes,
say something? Halima just joined us. She's our Student Government Association president. Could she just have maybe 1 or 2 minutes to say something?
Okay, sure. Go on, Halima. I'm afraid we're just coming to an end, but you're very welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Halima, and I'm the Student Government president. So as the government, we have the responsibility of communicating with students. So we send out information about, academic honesty and hard work and, you know, just always letting students know that their best will always be enough. We also have quite the audience on our social media. So on Instagram, I think our last reel got like over 6,000 views. So we will also post the message on there. Also, we have clubs, a lot of clubs under us, like the Poetry Club, Politics Society, Theatre Club, Honor Society. Yeah, so we can partner with these clubs and organize engaging and exciting events. For example, we can have a play with the Theatre Club. We could organize a competition with the Poetry Club. We can have a debate with the Politics Society, just to promote the message as well. Whatever it may be, the SGA is fully committed to the cause and will do everything we can to discourage academic dishonesty.
Thank you very much, Halima. Thank you so much.
Thank
and I also
you.
want to add that the SGA is always available to collaborate with any department, you know, trying to, that needs to work with the student community. So they're always there, helpful and available. Thank you.
That's great. And thank you to everyone from the American University of Nigeria. It's been great having lots of student representation in this session. So thank you all so much. And thank you to all the panelists as well. We're going to come to an end now, but I just want to do a quick reminder about other sessions today. You'll find them on the website. Maybe someone can put the link in for further sign-ups today. We have the student-led escape room that Natalie mentioned. It's a student from University of Dundee. That's at, thanks Thomas, 12 p.m. UK time today. You'll have a demo of the escape room activity to promote academic integrity among students. Then at 2 p.m, Irene and Thomas Lancaster will be back in conversation about current dangers in the contract cheating environment. And I know Thomas has said he'll be talking about artificial intelligence. So that'll be an interesting session, 2 p.m. this afternoon. And then we have another session at 3 p.m. UK time, again about how everyone can contribute to academic integrity on a small, medium or large level. And there'll be different contributors from the UK, from United Arab Emirates, Mexico and Canada. So look forward to seeing you later. And thanks to everybody for participating in this session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for the invitation, Mary.
You're very welcome. Bye, everyone.
Bye.